everyone, and welcome to Dream Leapers. I'm your host, Harriette Cole, and today I have a guest who I met many years ago. Actually, I know exactly when it was, in 2007, when I joined the leadership team at Johnson Publishing Company to be part of the team recreating Ebony magazine. And our guest is someone who's very close to the owner of Ebony. Part of her, her family created it. And we met, and she is a mover and shaker, and certainly was in Chicago and now much more broadly. Let me tell you who she is. She is a visionary leader who has consistently redefined what it means to lead with purpose, power, and cultural impact. She is Desirée Rogers, a dynamic force. Anybody who knows her will tell you exactly that. She is a strategist, communicator, and connector whose career spans the highest levels of business, media, government, and entrepreneurship. Yeah, all those things. She currently serves as the co-owner and CEO of Black Opal LLC, which is the parent company of both Black Opal and the iconic Fashion Fair, two legacy beauty brands that have long celebrated and elevated multicultural beauty. Under her leadership, these brands are not only thriving in major retailers like Macy's and Ulta, but continuing a powerful cultural legacy rooted in representation. Before this, Desirée served as CEO of Johnson Publishing Company, where she led the digital transformation of Ebony and Jet magazines, bringing these historic publications into a new era. She also made history, you may remember this, as White House Social Secretary under Barack Obama, where she used experiential storytelling to reflect the values of inclusion, transparency, and diversity on a global stage. Wow, those were the good old days. Her impact doesn't stop there. Desirée continues to shape the future through her work on corporate and nonprofit boards, including the American Cancer Society. Desirée Rogers is the embodiment of visionary leadership, blending business acumen with cultural stewardship in a way that leaves every space she touches better than she found it. Desirée Rogers, welcome to Dream Leapers.
Thank you for that amazing introduction. Thank you so much. So good to see you.
It's so good to see you too. And I mean, I remember the good old days when
when you said that, a tear almost came out of my eye. I'm like, yes, there were some good old days for sure.
We were so hopeful. I mean, so I came on first as the creative director, then later became the editor-in-chief too. But the very first cover I produced for Ebony was Barack and Michelle Obama right before he announced that he was running. And the excitement in the air, Desirée, was palpable. We were like, oh, is this possible? Can it be possible? And and then we tracked them throughout the campaign and then into the White House. And I mean, we need to remember those times, right?
Well, we need those times right now, right? I mean, it was history making. And I think sometimes when you're in it, you don't realize that, it could come to an end, an abrupt end in the wrong direction, right? And so you just think like, this is the beginning of the new era, not the beginning, and then the next era is not going to be so great. I never could have imagined this ever.
No, it's an amazing time we're in. One of the things that the current president said at the State of the Union was, with glee, was we killed DEI. And all these people stood up and clapped. And first of all, I think most people don't even know what that means.
They don't.
But it's true. There's so many businesses in corporate America in particular who were forced to close their offices of whatever they called it, diversity, equity, inclusion, multicultural, just being aware of the fact that there are other people in the room and that we should welcome them. And it has been devastating. You spent quite a bit of time in your early career working in energy, and certainly that's corporate,
right.
Being in that space. What is your understanding of what is happening now and the impact that this erasure this attempt at erasure is having on our culture?
Well, I think the first thing is so many people don't understand what DEI is. They do not have a good definition of DEI. And DEI is really, opportunity or programs that were put in place to help people that maybe needed extra help. Women, minorities, physically disadvantaged. It's not, we've made it into this, it's all about being woke, and it's all about, maybe groups that people don't care for. I'll put it that way. And so we've made it into this very negative concept, when in fact it is not negative at all. I mean, it actually is was amazing programs. When we think about DEI, I think that many people don't even know what that means. And so they equate it with this whole idea of being woke and as a negative. And DEI were programs that supported people that were disadvantaged, because of a number of circumstances. One could be just even people that were disabled, women and minorities, and trying to instill
And veterans.
a level playing ground for everyone. That's it. How could you be against that and be American? Everyone should have a level playing ground. Why is this a negative? So I think it's partly ignorance, fear. There's a big backlash in America where people, the majority, let's say, some of the majority, think for some reason by helping others that maybe don't look like them, that it is taking something away from themselves. Right. And so it's a very selfish mentality when you think that way, right? And so I think that everyone got so scared and nervous that we caved. And when you have your president literally saying, it's over, it needs to be over, it's tough. It's really tough. And people are afraid. Companies are afraid. Companies are trying to weigh, the balance of ensuring that they get what they need from the government, at the same time managing the customers that they have, some of which may believe DEI should be eliminated, others of which think maybe that's not the case. And so I think it puts business in a really awkward position to try to manage through everything and still run the business, especially if you're dependent in some way on government.
Right. And 4 years never seemed so long before.
So it's. I mean, look at what's happened with Target. I mean, that's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
It's a tough one, and we're in the middle of it. I honestly had the privilege to meet the new CEO, and I think that he's going to hopefully make the changes that need to be made to instill the basic values that have always been Target.
So let's talk about that a little more in case people don't know what is happening with Target. Can you paint the picture?
To the best of my ability.
Yeah, I mean, just,
there's been a national boycott around Target, specifically because of their, I would say elimination, or appears to have eliminated the DEI moniker on their programs.
Right.
Now, the question is whether or not did everything in really or not, and so I just think that, it's definitely had an impact on their revenues.
Yep.
I mean, we as Black people have been boycotting, Target, many of us, for the last year.
Yep.
And so, it's very complicated. It's not, I guess it's super complicated because, first of all, I think we don't know all the information. I mean, I think social media can be so brutal, and social media can also be so inaccurate, right? I mean, and so, but that's what people follow. It's an easy way to get information, whether that information is right or wrong. I mean, look what's happened to Timothy Chalamet. 5 weeks ago, he was the darling. He could do no wrong. Oh my God, Marty Supreme, did you see it? Oh, look at him, he and Kylie. Now he's like a pariah, because he made a statement about ballet and opera. And so I wish we would spend more time on things that I think are more important, like, wealth creation in America, treating people with dignity and respect, regardless of who they are, whether they're women, minorities, veterans, people that, have some disabilities, and just focus on, what this is America. Yeah. Everyone deserves the right to be successful, to be able to take care of their families, to be able to have a job. I mean, look at what's happened with Black women. Over 300,000 Black women's jobs have been eliminated, in the last year.
And
this is not a good scenario.
That's not even primarily entry-level jobs. That's a lot of senior positions, people with higher education, people in very significant roles in the government and beyond. Right. And it's devastating.
No, listen, it's tough. I sit on the American Cancer Society National Board. There was a discussion around, government and funding and, how do you make decisions? I mean, is it illegal to do a study on Black women and breast cancer, or Black men and prostate cancer, or people that have a certain diet, and live in a place where there's a food desert? I mean, these are questions that are being asked in terms of what are the new rules and how do we manage, whether it is an organization that is fighting cancer the end of cancer for everyone, right? Well, our bodies are different. Our makeup is different.
And to that point, Desiree, because just in case people don't understand why that would be an issue, by executive order, this administration said that DEI is illegal. And so, because I know people are like, what are you talking about? Why would this be illegal? So if it is illegal, then there is the question, can we do a study on
a certain
group? Because there's some who would say the interpretation of this executive order is that would be illegal. And it has occurred. I know, like in my work, I do a lot of coaching with corporations and others. And I was hired through those departments. It wasn't just for a particular group, but often was for women. And now you can't have something for women. It has to be for everyone. You certainly can't have something for people who look like us, because that's considered discriminatory. It is amazing to me that all of this is being considered discriminatory and illegal.
But that's the part that businesses and organizations are nervous about, right? I mean, if something's illegal and everything shuts down, is that better than trying to toe the line? It's easy to say this person should have done this and they should have done this and they should stand up and do that. I mean, I think sometimes you have to think about it's not a happy place. Mm-hmm. It's a very stressful place. But what is better? What's better of the bad possibilities that you have to choose from? Do you shut the whole thing down, right? Or do you try to navigate your way through and hope that in doing that you're going to come out on the right side of right? I mean, there's some values that obviously I would never cross over, ever. I'd rather quit. But when you're thinking about organizations or businesses where there's so much dependence of others on the success of that, those are very, very hard decisions to make. And so I'm not going to sit in judgment. I'm going to try to do the best that I can in what is a very, very tough situation.
Hey guys, this is Dream Leapers with Harriette Cole. We are speaking with Desirée Rogers, CEO of Black Opal LLC, which owns the brands that we know so well, Black Opal and Fashion Fair. Right now, we are talking about the state of our nation and its citizens and what, if anything, we can do about it. Desiree, as a board member, that's a role that.
Can I say one thing before you go there?
Yes, please.
The one thing that we can do about it.
Yes, that's what I want to know.
Is vote. And so it's always distressing to me when people sit around and argue with where we are, and then will turn around and say to me, but I didn't vote. And so to think that our voices and our, power, the power of the vote is not really power, we're missing the whole point. We just came through an election yesterday here, 2 days ago here in Illinois. We got to vote. We can't complain about what happens after the fact if we don't stand up and vote. So that would be one thing we can do.
So important. And, just for history's sake, because multi-generations of people tune into this show. And I want to say, for those who have any sense of history, no, our ancestors couldn't vote like a blink ago. It was so recent that people of African descent, anyhow, in this country legally could not vote. And so when I hear young Black people saying they don't vote, I'm like, are you kidding me? People died for the right to vote. People got shot for the right to vote. People had to pay stupid poll taxes and all kinds of crazy things, and sometimes still didn't get the right to vote. So you're saying what is essential, and it's not just the presidential election. Those midterm elections are so important. Right. So not only do you need to vote, but you need to pay attention so you know what you're doing.
Local. I'm going local. Local is so important that we get the proper people in place that are similar in their beliefs to what we believe in. And I don't mean we, I mean me personally. I'm going to pick my people. You're going to pick your people. This is an opportunity to ensure that the things that are important to you and how you live are maintained and maybe made even better. But if you don't vote or you don't do any research,
you have to pay attention.
You do have to pay attention. It's kind of, it's like maybe people will get it now. Maybe. I don't know. I still hear people saying, well, I'm not going to vote.
Well, my daughter, who's 22, has told me that often young people, her age group, are focused on a particular topic. And if a candidate is not in agreement with them on the topic, then they often say they're not going to vote. And so she's been an advocate for, no, it can't just be one thing. Because if they agree with what you're interested in, you can lobby for them to possibly change or whatever it might be. But these single topic voters are also dangerous if they're not looking at the big picture. But paying attention, I mean, it's our civic duty, and a lot of people don't do it. I think in part because they think, well, life isn't too bad. Well, I'm going to say, look around.
I don't know. A lot of people now might have changed that opinion in the last year.
Exactly.
Somebody's been like, I think all of us have been touched by something. Look at the gas prices today.
Yes.
If you drive a car, look at the gas prices. My office was just talking about this yesterday. In these larger cities like New Orleans, where I was born, Chicago, all of the issues around immigration and the communities that have helped build some of these cities and the attacks that have been done there. I know the stuff is controversial, but when you see people gunned down in the street, to me, that's not controversial. My eyes are clear on what I saw.
Well, and this time, Desiree, in Minneapolis, the two people who were gunned down were white. And that is different.
Except though, it might have been this wokeness because there was a lesbian couple. Who cares? Why is that even a thing?
But I'm only bringing it up because it's different. The Black bodies have been disposable since the beginning. Not good, but true. Mm-hmm. Now, you bring up a point. A lesbian couple, they could easily be, dumped into the not valued segment. And then the gentleman who was killed because he was supporting, right? But these excuses, what about humanity? What about loving our neighbor? I mean, I don't want to seem naive when I say that. This is the world. This is people, What happened to caring about people?
I don't know. I think we're so obsessed with what we think we personally are owed,
Mm,
and so obsessed with looking for someone to blame and not really thinking about, well, why am I personally in this position? It's
mm,
not because of DEI. I
right.
mean, it's not because a woman got the job and you didn't. It's just we got to blame somebody. We're so angry, we've got to blame
Yeah.
somebody. And I think that the other thing is, I feel like people are so disenfranchised. I mean, just everywhere, right? I
Yeah.
mean, just we're not as close as we used to be. We don't spend as much time with each other, just socializing or trying to understand someone else's opinion. We're on our phones, we're scrolling through, various, apps.
Yeah.
We're creating, things that really are not real in many ways, whether it's
Yeah, no,
AI or
you're
even
right.
looking at the celebrity world, and just getting ourselves, we just get drawn into things that, I mean, how does that really improve your life? I'm not speaking as someone who doesn't do it. I
Right.
question myself. Why am I scrolling and scrolling
Right. And
and
what is this
scrolling
doing
and
for me?
looking at
Right.
this and that? Who cares what dress somebody has on? Am I getting the dress? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Of
And
course.
so the time I'm spending doing that, I could maybe be spending, having lunch with someone and getting to know them.
It's funny you say that. I saw some people the other day. Let's pause. Uh, so I saw some friends the other day, Desiree, and to the point about how we connect.
Mhm.
I literally was in their company the other day, and we realized that we had not seen each other for years. But we didn't realize that it hadn't been for years because we see each other like this. I mean, the gift that we got during the pandemic was this. Most people
Mhm.
didn't use Zoom before. Like if you were in corporate America, you used that thing. I can't remember what it was called, but and you that triangle in the middle of the
Oh
conference.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
No, but most people didn't have this kind of connection, which is a beautiful way to see each other and be with each other. But it's not the same thing as seeing a person and
Oh,
giving
I want
them
to touch you. I want to hug
yeah,
you. I want to see you. I want to like see all of you, not
right,
this much of
right.
you.
And
But I think that's what's happening. I mean,
it is
it's just we have to make time to spend time. And so I was recently at an event on Friday here in Chicago, a Black women's uh, professional women's event. There were maybe let's say 250 women. It was amazing. I mean, just to see some I knew, some I didn't know, but just to spend time to hear, how are you doing?
right.
How's it going? And I was so excited that I invited like 30 women to come to my house.
Nice.
We're going to set up a Sunday so we can just visit and talk and help and understand, what are you going through? How can I help you? How can I, help you with whatever it is? But you got to spend time. We're just moving. It's not fun.
It's
We're just
it's not fun.
moving.
It's it's a level of almost manic work that many of us are doing. And another thing that I've seen, Desiree, I love the idea of you getting folks together in person because we are very good at dressing up and making ourselves look good, but it doesn't mean we are good. And I have talked to several friends very recently, people who you would never imagine were having problems, who almost died, Black
Mm,
women.
mhm.
And, they had to be still for whatever period of time and they're recovering and are have lived to tell about it. This is happening more than we know. That
Mhm.
we actually are losing people at ages where we go, wait a minute, this is a
Mhm.
little early to be losing someone. The
Mhm.
stress, the isolation, the belief that you have to put on that face that says you're doing well, even if you're really not.
Mhm.
the fear of allowing yourself to show vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. And it is not just Black women, but I think this undercurrent of young white men
Mm-hmm.
and their isolation. They're not dating. They don't have as many friends as they used to have. They're playing, I don't know what the games are, iBox or some kind of whatever those games are, in a basement of their parents' home.
Yep.
And so that's easy to feel bad for yourself and think like, oh, the answer is this crazy, magna, And so I just think that we got to be more together. We got to hold hands. We got to be honest about where we are. We have to ask for help. We have to give help when we can and be invested in full lives.
Yeah.
And so I'm working on that for myself. I'm not saying I'm there yet. I'm certainly not, but I'm working on it.
It's so important. And I'm glad you brought it. So the extremes, you can talk about Black women and young white men and everybody in between. One of the things that I hear so often about the space of loneliness is I can't find anybody. I'm not meeting anybody. People go on these apps and what are they looking for? Even like in college, my daughter's in college and she said how most people meet, they're on a campus and they still meet each other through the apps. Like it's amazing that technology, I often talk about there has to be this balance of technology and humanity. Otherwise it doesn't work. And I feel like everything is so off balance and there are a lot of lonely people out there. And we haven't figured out what to do.
Yeah, no. Listen, it's difficult. I mean, we've lived long enough to kind of see where it wasn't like this. So, but you're out of practice. I'm out of practice on just even how to act if I meet somebody. How am I supposed to act?
That's a question that a lot of people ask.
I'm like, am I supposed to do this or that? It's awkward. I'm acting like I'm 20 years old again.
There's something sweet about that, though.
It's crazy though, because you're just not used to it, right?
Right.
When you say, "Oh, I want to meet somebody," then you meet somebody, and you're like, "Wait, am I literally in my body meeting somebody?" It's crazy.
Crazy times.
It is.
Being able to get grounded in just being with people and taking the time and not, I mean, yes, you have these boxes you check off, but just being with people and giving people a chance to breathe.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a wonderful thing. I mean, I have certain groups of friends and we don't see each other often, but we saw each other like a month or so ago. We didn't go to bed till 7 a.m.
Oh, how nice.
Because we were laughing and joking and being like normal people. Nobody was on their phones. Nobody was, it was an amazing thing. So I think we have to create opportunities and spaces where we can be our true selves, our real selves, and just go for it.
I love it.
Just go for it.
Hey guys, this is Dream Leapers with Harriette Cole. We are talking with Desirée Rogers. We thought we were going to be talking about Fashion Fair, and we will. Right now, we have done a deep dive into humanity, which I absolutely love, because isn't that why we're here on the planet? Desirée, let's talk business. You have had quite a career in the business world and leading to owning and shepherding two iconic brands. I mean, Black Opal is an iconic brand as well. Fashion Fair, just everything in the world of beauty for Black women. Part of the Johnson Publishing Company legacy.
Mm-hmm.
To shepherd legacy brands when today there are tons of products out there, which wasn't true up until very recently, for diverse skin tones. And, now the area is crowded. But I'm just gonna go back like fashion fair. I remember my aunties, like my father's sister would have one color, and that would be their color. And one color for foundation, and that would be their color. And they got it from fashion fair and were proud to be able to get it from there. That brand, with all those expectations from generations ago, you have transformed while also working to keep the legacy aspect of it. How and why? Why'd you make that choice?
Let me tell you, it's not easy. I need all the help I can get. I am excited about the prospect of actually both of these brands. They both have long histories.
Yeah.
They were both there from the beginning for our communities, and they deserve to not only thrive, but to be Black owned.
Hmm.
And the reason I say that, and the reason I think that beauty is an entree to creating wealth in our community is because we spend so much in the arena. So I don't have to convince you to buy beauty. We spend all over $9 billion.
Wow.
The problem is, here's the problem. We do not spend it with Black owned companies. We've allowed the beauty industry to take the majority of that money. And that's a shame. And we really should be thoughtful about where we're placing our dollars, because just imagine what would happen if we had, a group of beauty companies that were doing $1 billion. That were Black. All that money is going to go back to what we need, what we want, what's important to us: scholarships, support of HBCUs, mentorships, businesses, that vendors, that lawyers, these 300,000 women, we can employ them.
Right.
We can help them get their businesses started. If 10% of American Black women bought one product from Fashion Fair annually, we would be at $38 million.
Wow.
The problem is we never have the capital to get to that next level.
Yep.
And see, we wind up, selling off a piece, and next thing you know, we're out of business. We don't have anything. And so I am literally begging our community to support Black owned businesses. And people say, well, I like, whatever, this brand, right? We got to get out of the brainwashing that somehow if we pull out a label that we're better, we feel better about ourselves. Is it really the color or is it the label? I often say it's time to come off the plantation.
Ooh, yep.
And it is time to take a look at what is created, especially for you, the formulas, tested on people that look like you, Black dermatologists. Time to kind of think about that and think about what's important. Now, maybe you can't find everything, but I guarantee you can find a lot of things, that are good for your skin and that are created for you. I can spot a Black woman a mile away that has a certain brand on, because I know what's in that brand and I know why it's reacting to her skin that way.
That's something. You probably know this. The very first book that I wrote was Jumping the Broom, the African American Wedding Planner. That was 32 years ago, Desiree. Wow. And I'm making a new version right now that's coming out next year. I'm mentioning it because in the original book and in this book, there's a resource guide. So originally there was no internet, there was no nothing. I was at Essence at the time when I made that book, and Essence was known for showcasing Black-owned brands. And in my book, I had this resource guide with only Black-owned businesses included. And many of those businesses thrived a little better because here was this directory that people could go to. If they wanted to buy Black, they could. We are doing it again. in this book, because even though you can go on the internet and find things, it's hard to find a curated list. And you guys are on the list. Yeah, absolutely.
Both brands?
Both brands. And because we want people to know it is possible. At one of the times when people spend the most amount of money in their life is when they get married. And how are you spending your money? Where are those dollars going?
There's a bridal shop in Chicago, I want you to know, owned by a Black woman and her husband.
Oh, I want to know.
They do custom bridal gowns.
Wow. What are they called?
I got to think of it. But she was one of those women in that entrepreneurship group.
Wonderful. Yes, I definitely want to know. But I'm mentioning it because when you talk about being conscious and spending our dollars with each other, one of the complaints that people sometimes have is, well, who's out there? And that, I think, is part of the brainwashing that we've heard so often from corporate America. Well, I would hire somebody of color if I could find somebody who was qualified.
Where are they? Where are they? That's one piece of it. The other piece, are they good enough? I think this product is much better than this product. I mean, so we kind of, and it's historical, right? We were taught this.
Yes.
We were taught that we were not the best. We were taught that anything made by us was like not the highest quality, even though we fed everybody. They ate our food. They either take our designs, but it wasn't good enough. It's like we will allow companies to take our designs, put their label, not want it ourselves, put their label on it, and now it's good enough.
And now it's good enough.
That's the brainwashing, and that's the history. And that's where you have to literally dig deep in your mind and think and fight against the history and the brainwashing and the torture and the teachings, all of that stuff. It's all in us. It's in me. I have to question myself
all the time. I've conducted a lot of interviews for the history makers, Juliana Richardson's project. And many of our elders will talk about their education, especially in the South, in the segregated South, where, folks might say to you, well, they got a lower level education. It is true that they often didn't have the books that other schools had because they got the hand-me-down books. But what these people have told me time and again, Desiree, is those teachers loved those students so much, and they poured into them. They taught them everything they could so that they could excel, about how to be an upstanding human being, about how to think, about how to navigate life. And while others may not value them enough, it's all in our culture. It's still in our culture.
It is. It is. I mean, but it starts here. You have to value yourself.
You do.
No one else can give you that. Dressing like this, buying that, hanging around with this one, having a fancy car. Those are all adornments and all things that help us as Black Americans. And we feel like successful. We've arrived. We beat the odds. All of those things mean so much to us because of how we've been treated and because of the background. So you want to have like, look at her, look at this. That's who we are. I don't believe that's going to change. We just have to put it in perspective.
Yeah.
And really think like, okay, someone said to me, oh my God, I can't believe that you dressed the way you dressed when you went to the White House state dinner. I'm Black. This is the biggest night of my friend's life. What am I going to wear? A sack? That's not what we do. If we don't have the money, we go to get our hair and nails done.
That's true.
And get somebody to put makeup on us and make certain that we have not just new dress, you got new everything.
New everything.
Jacket, new shoes. You got to have a ring. That's what we do. You don't show up at someone's wedding half done. People will stay home before they'll do that because it's disrespectful in our community. Mm-hmm. That's not how we do. You put your Sunday best on to salute and to be, to make certain they understand you're being respectful. That's what we do.
And we have to remind the next generation, there is a generation that may not know. If that has not been passed down, what does it mean to be proud of yourself and to represent your family and your community and your people? What does that mean? I think in part, Desiree, we have this other side of the reality where we're teaching, especially our sons, how to stay alive. So there's that. But then there's also, how to be and how to excel in the environments and cultures where we find ourselves. And that's not necessarily easy. And
listen, it's hard. You got to find out, how do you do your good work? Good work. What is the work? What are your passions? What do you want to accomplish? Not follow the leader. You create your own, you become your own band leader. We each have that opportunity, as rough as some of our lives have been and are, to just, try to figure out, like, what do you want? And listen, the problem is it's getting tougher and tougher for just the basics, for people to just have the basics, a place to live, food that's decent, health, all of it, food, stress, all of those things impact your health, ability to be able to have a doctor's appointment and not just I don't have any doctors, I just go when there's an emergency. So some of the basic things that I thought I would never see, like, taken away from so many people, are being taken away from so many people.
Well, and again, I think of my daughter because she's about to enter the workforce, and AI is eliminating a lot of entry-level jobs, because, well, it can do it really fast. And as I've been reading, I see that one of the concerns is the people who are at the entry-level position, if they don't get that, they aren't learning the culture of an organization. They aren't learning how to do some basic things. If they have to come in at a higher level, unless they have other people teaching them how to do that, they may just
they might not even be in the office. People are arguing about they don't want to be in the office. They don't want to, I don't personally understand. I think it's so inefficient to never be in an office unless you are doing something where it's solitary work, that you're putting out you don't need it. You're just doing solitary work. There's no way we can do what we do without an office. How do you pick shades?
Right.
How do you see how they look on other skin tones? I mean, everything's going to be, distorted on a screen. How do you know if that's going to go on dark skin and what it's going to look like if you're not trying it and testing it? It doesn't work.
And also, regardless of what the organization is, being able to be in each other's company is a powerful thing. And when we cannot ever be in each other's company, it's isolating. It's not. And my team works remotely, but we come together occasionally. And it's really important when we're able to do that. Let me remind folks, this is Dream Leapers with Harriette Cole. We are talking with Desirée Rogers. She is CEO of Black Opal LLC, which has the brands Black Opal and Fashion Fair. And believe it or not, we only have 5 minutes left. I can't believe how fast.
We got to talk about the business now.
Please, let's do that. Let's talk about, what does it mean? What does the business mean today?
So the reason that Cheryl McKissick and I really bought these companies is because I think it's super important. Again, I mentioned the amount of expenditures that the Black community has in this beauty space. So we thought, wow, wouldn't it be great to make certain that they stay in Black hands, so that, Black ownership is so key, to also be able to work with Black vendors, as best we can, so that we can help them grow their businesses. It's also been a dream of ours. And also to make certain that we have high quality products that are made specifically for us. That's important to me. When I go in the plant, many of the ingredients that we're buying are only being bought by us, even though other brands may have tones that look like, they're for us. Because of course, at this point, everyone's got 50 colors. And so I got some criticism where, Desiree, why don't you have 50 colors? Because they're not 50 colors of Black people. That's why. Go up there and count. Start at the lightest shade of a Black person that you know. There's probably going to be about 20. That's about what it's going to be. And Sam Fine taught me that, the makeup artist. He was like, honey, we don't need 50. There's not 50. He's like, you're going to be fine with 20 if you're really going to be focused on, Black and brown people. And so that's what we're spending our time on, Black and brown people, and making certain that the products are clean, high quality, vegan, natural ingredients that work on melanin-rich skin at every turn. You don't want to buy eyeshadow and you can't use 5 of them because the colors don't work on you. You don't want to buy a lipstick.
I want to make sure folks hear that, because when you buy that palette,
you're like, oh, look at this palette. You get home and you're like, oh, I really could only use like 2 of these, and then it's all worn out and you got all these colors, right? We're not doing it. We're going to make certain you can use all the colors and you're going to like them, okay? You're not going to be like, oh, I can't because that doesn't look good on me or doesn't show up on me. Same for lipstick, same for our brightening concealer. Not lightening, but brightening. I mean, lots of times the skin is off, sloughing off at all times, and it's more visible on a darker skin.
Yeah.
That's why, remember the ashiness, and the moms always, you had to have your lotion on your legs and face, and oh my goodness, my child's ashy. That's because it can be seen. And so we are making very, certain that we're putting ingredients in there that help with that, because it gives a dull cast to the skin. And so making certain that there's brightening agents so that the skin looks brighter. Our lotion, the serum that we use is like a peach serum, not white, because sometimes that white you're rubbing and rubbing, takes forever to get that white into your skin. And so I just feel like it's so important for especially, Black women to feel beautiful. It could just be a mascara. It could be a lip gloss. We're not talking about a full face every day, but to have accessible products that are made for them, that work for them, that don't clog your pores, that are made in the US, and that we really are leaning into the needs of our skin, because we know when we feel like we look good, not someone else telling us we look
right.
It's just another pep in your high heel, another pep in your step. You just like, this is going to be a good day. And today, with all the challenges that we have, we need more good days.
I agree. How were you able to have it made in the USA?
Because I want to see it being made. And quite frankly, I can't take pictures there. But when I get to those plants, a lot of the people look like us.
That's beautiful.
They look like us. And I think that, that's what we want to do. I mean, that's what we're doing. And so can you make more money by producing something, in maybe China? Maybe, but are you there watching and seeing? I'm just a little too superstitious. I come from Louisiana. I'm just a little too superstitious, and, we're lucky in that we get very few issues. We do work with the Black dermatologist. And so there's no fragrance in anything. The old fashioned fair, all those cherry lipsticks and all that stuff. She said, nope, Desiree, you can't do that. You got to take all of that out, because believe it or not, Black skin can be very, very sensitive.
Yes.
And so we've taken all of that out, and we follow her guidelines on, what we can and can't do. So we want to be very respectful. I'm a cancer survivor myself, so very respectful about what we're selling to people and what those ingredients are overall.
Thank you so much for taking those brands and loving them and offering them back to us, because many of us remember them from wherever back in the day was, depending upon how old we are. Yes. I have used the fashion fair, as you know, because I saw you at Macy's recently. The lipstick is so emollient. It's amazing. Like, kudos. You all have done a good job. I tested myself. So it is from personal experience that I can say that.
Now, I do have to admit on the lipstick, it's made in Milan.
Well, guess what? Thank you, Milan.
I was recently there working with that group, but that is made in Milan. And so I just want people to know that it's blackopalbeauty.com.
Oh, good.
And fashionfaircosmetics.com. So shop to your heart's content. Let us know what you like. Let us know what products that we need to bring. We're in the process right now of working on some new stuff. So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited for people to come and join our community and be a part of what has been a legacy brands for us for so many years. And yes, we are Black owned. People are like, oh, are they Black? Yes, we are Black women owned businesses.
Yeah. And please give my love to Cheryl. I love that you two have teamed up to do this. A power duo for sure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Harriet.
And thank you to all of you for tuning in. I hope that you went down this journey and got your cup full. We talked about history. We talked about standing up for who you are, loving yourself, and being beautiful at the same time. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, have a great day and make it count.